everybody, this is Annie from Speech. Today I'm going to make a video for you about something called food chaining. Now I know some of our kids can be pretty picky and only like to eat certain things, so food chaining is a good strategy that can help you work on increasing the number of foods that your kid likes to eat. So the whole idea behind food chaining is you start with something that they really like and then you build off of that, adding things that are a little bit different. So it could be either something that's a slightly different flavor, a slightly different texture, a slightly different color, still pretty similar to the food that they like, but you're kind of increasing and expanding outward with hopes that they'll eventually like a variety of things. So I'm going to give you an example of some food chaining with just some things that I happen to have in my pantry. You don't have to use these exact things. Anything that you have and you think your kid might like would be a good place to start. So I'm going to show you something that a lot of our kids do like. So we're going to start with just basic plain cheese goldfish. Now I know that this is something that a lot of our kids will like, and sometimes they will eat different flavors, sometimes they only will eat the regular variety of goldfish. So because goldfish are something that are like a cracker, they're crunchy, they're salty, you want to look for other foods that kind of have those similar characteristics when you're chaining with different foods. So you could start with regular goldfish that you know that they like, and then maybe you could introduce something like pizza goldfish. So it's the same as these goldfish in every way except the flavor. So they look the same, they're the same shape, they're the same texture, they're crunchy, but they have a slightly different flavor. Now goldfish is great because it has a whole bunch of different flavors, so you could see which other ones you think they may like and offer and try a bunch of different varieties. Something that you can go off of next that I don't have here but is a good next step for these kind of goldfish is Cheez-Its. They're pretty similar. They're crunchy, they're salty, they're orange, they're really just a different shape. So Cheez-Its is a good kind of next step for someone who likes goldfish, but you want to do a different type of food that's not specifically goldfish. So say you're going from goldfish and you're going with that salty, crunchy kind of taste. So something that you could do is like a saltine cracker. That's crunchy, it's salty. Now you'll notice it's obviously a different shape than goldfish, it's a different color than goldfish, but it has a pretty similar taste and it has a pretty similar crunch. A lot of our kids really like either a lot of crunchy foods or a lot of soft foods. They'll like the same type of texture food. So you want to really start with that being the same. So say you have something like a saltine and now your kid's eating saltines. Great. So where are you going to go from saltines? Maybe you want to go to something like a tortilla chip. So again, it's crunchy, it's salty, it's a very similar color to the saltine. Obviously, it's a little bit of a different shape, and you can get different shaped tortilla chips other than this one. I just happen to have this Scoops one in my house, so they're very similar, but they are a little bit different. So now maybe you've expanded from goldfish to saltines to tortilla chips, and then you could expand maybe to regular potato chips. So they're similar, but they're different. So you could go, once you have your kids eating regular potato chips, you could try different flavors. So here I have a cheddar and sour cream one. Now, that might be a little bit too much, but at the same time, that also may kind of have similar taste to maybe your cheddar goldfish, your pizza goldfish, or something that has those same kind of cheesy, salty taste to it. But again, it's crunchy and it has that same kind of texture. So you really just have to figure out what things your kid might be interested, and you want to make it fun, especially when you're introducing new foods. You don't want to make it a stressful time. A lot of times our kids do have aversions to food in general, and eating can already be kind of stressful for them. So when you're introducing something new, you want it to be fun. So something I always like to do is maybe do like an art craft with it. So say you have goldfish and you want to make different pictures out of the goldfish or something like that, or maybe you have a kid who really likes the color goldfish and you could sort them based on the color and do a fun activity with that. And maybe they'll eat them, maybe they won't, but you're kind of desensitizing them to this new food and you're making it less stressful for them. You're making it fun if you're incorporating it into an activity. So that's a good way to really kind of start introducing them to different foods in a low stress level. If they have other siblings or other family members who may also eat snack with them. You could have the other siblings try the new foods you're getting them to try. Sometimes if we see other people eating a new food and enjoying a new food, we're more likely to try it ourselves. So I have a few more different food chains that might be something that you would want to try out depending on what your kid's interested in. So I have a few different types of pasta here. So sometimes our kids will just like, plain noodles. So maybe you start with this kind of pasta. Maybe they like bow tie pasta. Maybe they like it just plain. So in order to work towards something like a mac and cheese, you could start with just the plain pasta and then maybe add a little bit of butter. So the pasta, the shape is the same, the texture is the same. We're making the flavor a little bit different because we're adding a little bit of butter or adding a little bit of cheese or salt or something to give it a little bit more flavor than just plain pasta. You can move to something like this, to maybe a different type of pasta. And these are fun things to do like art projects or crafts or things with too. Even if it's not cooked and you're not expecting them to eat them, just introducing them to something new and different in a low stress environment is a fun way to get started. So say you've gotten them from regular plain pasta to pasta with butter to pasta with cheese. Maybe they would be likely to try something like a mac and cheese. And I know mac and cheeses come in all different character shapes. I here have a frozen one, but say there's a character that you know that your child really likes and you have a mac and cheese that has that same character, maybe they're more likely to try it if they have a character that they're interested in. So I have one more different option for something that I know a lot of our kids like, which is pizza. So I have a few different kinds of pizza here. They're both frozen pizzas. So say your kid likes frozen cheese pizza. Maybe they have one brand that they really like. Maybe they really like the round ones cut into into triangles. So you could even start with that and cut it into different shapes. So it's the same food, it tastes exactly the same, but it looks a little bit different. So instead of cutting it into triangles, you can cut it into squares or something like that. And if they're used to eating the pizza that they like in squares, maybe you could introduce a different brand that's already in square shape. So it's similar, they're used to the pizza, they're used to the square shape, but it's a different brand, so it may taste slightly different. And you can work off of that. Maybe you'd love, as a goal to have them be able to eat pizza from a restaurant. If your family orders pizza on Friday nights and you always have to make a frozen pizza for your child because that's the only thing that they like, maybe working towards this is a good way to get them included more in family dinner and having them eat what everybody else is eating if you order takeout from a restaurant. So those are just some ideas. There's a whole bunch of resources that you can find online. If you search food chaining, sometimes you can even search specific food items. So like something like goldfish is very common, so you could probably search food chaining from goldfish and you can see different chains that people have done to see they started from goldfish and they got here. Now it's definitely a process and some kids may be more willing to do it than others, but don't give up, and as long as you make it fun, hopefully, even if your kid tries just one more food, it'll be one more food in their repertoire, and it'll be a fun activity for them to just be exposed to more things. So good luck, and I hope you have fun doing some food chaining. Bye. See you next time.